And that you're gonna play through my little, my... There I am in the morning, you know. So this was actually in Mushroom Studios in Vancouver, which is where we laid down a lot of the bass and the drums. We even got some good guitars out of there. But for the most part, it was just bass and drums. And Angela and Brian, who we can't seem to get rid of these days, they're always involved in something that we're doing. They lived at my apartment, basically. I'd moved from Montreal back to Vancouver for 3 months to do the album. And Angela and Brian would come over with the video camera and they would shoot us all the time, constantly.
Like a couple days a week when we were doing pre-production, and then started, like they just, like the whole 3-month process, they would come over constantly to film, and
they would come home with me and we would watch TV and they would laugh at everything I said. Everything. Like I had such good ego at that time. Tegan had the weirdest hair. People saw pictures of her on the internet while we were making the record, and they said she looked like Alice Cooper, and so she went out and got her hair cut about halfway through the album. At making the album.
I was frazzled.
But this record, I mean, has a sound of its own.
John's good for that stuff. John and Dave, I think that's why we continue to work with them with this record, is that they are like the people we want to like us. Like they're the people I care if they like us or not out there, and they had so much faith in us, or at least it seemed that way. Like it always seemed like they were just so
they really
interested.
did. They're so funny too, because when we asked John if he wanted to work on our last record, when he said yes, I don't think that either of us believed that him or David would be interested, and they came on board, and we had such a fun time. So when we asked them to work on So Jealous again, I had a bit more confidence, but it always would get me excited more than almost anyone when they would like a song. When they came into these rehearsals that we were doing, we did 3 weeks of rehearsals in Vancouver before we started working on the record, and we would literally talk like this for hours. Poor Angela and Brian, poor the band, poor anybody actually. We would just talk and talk and talk and go through these songs. Yeah, basically like I'm doing right now. But these songs, basically we had written them and the band hadn't really heard them, so we were like literally going through and trying to create drums, bass, like dynamics, everything. And this was actually one of the days that Tegan had a bit of a meltdown.
I just found the process really intense because I'd spent an enormous amount of time and effort working on my own demos, and I had an idea about what I wanted, but it was so hard to explain it to everybody. And then we'd get in there and it just felt like we were all working against each other for a while. But we really all came around in the end. I can remember Rob helping me move Sarah's bed out of her apartment after we were done the record, and him saying that he was so grateful and thankful for us, like that we, you know, made this record together, because he really felt like he'd come out of his rocker box. And I would go so far as to say I agree. Like I think we all came out of the box we were in before, and we tried something a little different. Well, a lot different for us, but
it's tough in these rooms too, because when you're in these rehearsal spots, it sounds awful. It's really a bad room.
And basically all we were doing was just playing the songs over and over and over again, because we had written them and sent demos out to everyone, but this was like the process where we like worked the band into it, you know, because we already had the basics of the song done, but now it was just trying to figure out what Chris and Rob should be doing, and it was so hard sometimes. Like, so slow.
So slow, yeah, and out of tune.
It took you at least 3 months to do everything in key.
But it was awesome because John Collins and David Carswell and Howard Reddekopp, who also worked on the record,
Who the fuck is that?
They would come in. It's Alice Cooper. They would come into the studio, well, like in the rehearsal spot, and they would just be like, "Yep, sounds great. You guys are doing great, real tight." And we'd be like, "Really?" Because it sounds awful to us.
There was something wrong with the air in there too. I used to break out all the time.
Oh God, you look.
I was allergic to my makeup. It had sheep's oil in it or something, and it broke out really bad.
Look at your hair.
It was just really long and it was thick.
It's like a mane, like a little. You should have hired one of those people that rides on the back of horses, like, you know, like just have one of those guys sit on your back and ride you around Vancouver.
This is like the most intense part. Everybody freaks out.
Calm down for a second. No, just calm down for a second. She could get any further and find the paper should be.
There's Sarah in the middle of our fight.
Rob was really actually pissed. He freaked out.
He kind of laughs here, but we had a fight and a sit down that day.
I don't need to tell him. You tell him. There's a chair right there. You don't need to stand. Get your fucking ass over here and participate. Shut the fuck up. I won't mistake.
I was so glad to get out of that rehearsal
I think
spot.
it was
That
the room too.
awful.
I think we were ready. I think we wanted to get out of there, and I think we were all we were going
We
back
needed
every
haircuts
day,
really bad.
rehearsing like 8-9 hours a day, and it was exhausting.
It was a tough way to do it.
bad
It was it was unconventional. A lot of people,
Just looking at each other in that bad lighting all day,
we were all grumpy.
exhausting.
It's tough though because a lot of people will spend months and months working out the songs, and we really literally went in and crunched it all into a month. So, but I was happy when we got out of here. My bowel movements went back to normal. I genuinely just felt a lot better personally.
There's John and Dave.
They would come in. I remember one day actually they came in and they actually played on You Wouldn't Like Me, and we all jammed together. And
It was fun.
It was such a fun day. There was good moments. Angela and Brian were there all the time. It wasn't always miserable.
I think when we had outsiders in there, it got more intense too, because it's like I've heard from an outside source close to us that when we have someone that we feel like might be our ally, our fighting increases because you feel like someone might actually take your side for the first time ever. And I think with the band, we all needed an ally, and so when anyone visited, we would just bring it right out there, hoping someone would jump in and be like, "You're right, Rob. Everyone else here is wrong." Anyway, so we moved to Mushroom and we did our bed tracks there, and it was very exciting.
See, this is after a night spent together with Angela and Brian in my love apartment. They're driving me to the studio.
Her new head had straighter hair and a longer face. Like, she almost kind of looked like a demon. Anyway, I dreamt about Tegan last night. That's weird. My mom would really be excited, though. She'd be like, "Oh my god, you really love each other."
First of all, our mom doesn't have an accent.
That's what it sounds like in my head, though. I don't even know what my mother's voice sounds like anymore because usually all she's doing is meowing at my cats. Like, that's become her thing.
So this studio is sort of in the center of things, and I used to like take the bus there every day and I'd listen to a Shins record, Streets Too Narrow.
I was really
I
into
loved
the
coming
Stills
to the
record.
studio. I just loved going there. This was just this part of the record was really fun for me.
It felt good to finally be in the studio, and it was sounding good and it was feeling good, and we
Being
were
productive.
so excited with the bed tracks. The drums and the bass were sounding awesome, and
My hair was flattening out of it.
Tegan was taking a chill pill.
What the hell's up with the drums there?
It's just a drum machine.
Oh.
It's so funny.
I used to
'cause
do this honking. I could make this honking sound on that thing. It sounded like a car honking outside. I'd
It was
do it in
annoying.
between every track. I love that. That shirt, though, someone should have just set me on fire in it. To teach me a lesson for wearing it. Seriously, it's like, there's cameras around. Try.
you really didn't care.
No, I didn't. I really lost all touch. I'd lost touch. 3 weeks of recording, I'd lost touch with reality.
See, here, I thought during this part of the record, I was quite happy. I liked the way my hair was going. And then, like, for some reason, when we go to the next studio, when we're doing the overdubs, I cut my own hair and I had to go get it fixed. And I literally had ugly doll hair for the rest of the record, and I had no idea what I was thinking.
Well, I know that with the last record, we played, like...
Angela and Brian would make us do these awful interviews every once in
I
a
want to hear
while.
what we're saying.
wrote songs, rehearsed them, now we're recording them.
I look
It's
sad.
more conventional or something. But, I kind of like...
You look like you're trying to cover up your body or something. Like you have a bathing suit on.